Howdy, y'all. In these next coming videos, I want to show you how to make stuff like this. Um, and what you're looking at is a bunch of triangles in Regal with a noise pattern. And the noise pattern is taking in some uniforms, which animates it, and the triangles are also obviously being animated. And in these videos, we'll just go over some of the basics of Regal. And I think what we're going to do to get there is we're going to start with fragment shaders. And fragment shaders are, there's this great book called The Book of Shaders. It talks a lot about this stuff in greater depth and has tons of great exercises. Talks about shaping functions. Basically, everything in this Book of Shaders, as it's currently published, has to do with working with fragment shaders. And so I want to talk today about what those are, and get us started with writing some. And one of the things I like about Regal, as I mentioned, is that it can get us to this place really pretty quickly and painlessly. I'm gonna I put up a repository which is in the description that's got this rotating triangles with the noise demo. Put that in the description. But we're gonna start just from scratch, and I'm gonna make a folder called fragments, and we're gonna rebuild what we did last time with the full screen canvas, and then we're gonna do some stuff with the fragment shader. And I think it's just good to get this practice. I think this muscle memory helps with understanding actually. So what I want to do is just say npm. I'm going to open this folder in VS Code, and I'm going to start a new npm project. Npm init y. And you can see there's my output, there's my package.json, and I'll say also touch index.js, and that'll give me that index.js file in that same folder. And I'm gonna install some dependencies. I'll say npm install /d. We'll install Budo, browserify, glslify, and that should do it for now. So you remember Budo is for the live serving, and some other stuff. Really great library by Matt Dislowers. Browserify was written by this guy named Substack, kind of legendary in the Oakland hacking community. GLSLify, and Browserify is used for converting code and make it browser friendly from Node. And then GLSLify is for our GLSL files. All right, and so now we'll also install. We'll install as regular dependencies. We'll install Regal, and I think that'll do for now. We'll just do Regal today. We're just going to make get started with fragment shading. So I'll install Regal. And now if I look at my package.json, I've got Regal and I've got those dependencies, and I need to make my start script. So we'll say start. And Budo, serve it live, we'll open index.js. Now let's also add Browserify. And Browserify is going to transform using glslify. And make sure to put that comment there, comma there. And now we should actually be able to start this file if we want to. but we won't see anything. And we won't, hopefully, won't have any errors. No errors. But we don't have anything on our index.js, so there's nothing to show. Let's do something about that. We'll say const regal equals require regal, and we're going to call that function too. At some point soon, I'm going to make a video on why are we calling a function there. Probably in the next week or so. So stay tuned for that. And we're going to also import glslify equals require glslify. And remember, we use that when we write this function. We're going to make a function. It's called drawBG, which is going to get returned from this Regal function. So this, we're going to pass into Regal, we pass in a setup object with some options, and it returns a function, which we can then call. And we're giving that a name of drawBG. And again, this is stuff that I think will make more sense after I make this video on declarative programming, or series of videos. And so we're going to, into that object, we want to pass a frag, and that's going to be glslify, and it's going to be frag.glsl, and we'll want to pass a vert shader as well, which again will be glslify, but this time with vert.glsl. Now I haven't written these yet. We'll write these in a minute. Let's give it first some attributes. And so our attributes will be an object, and we're going to pass in a position. And the position is going to be an array of points that's going to go from -1, -1, so that's the bottom left, to 1, -1, to 1, 1. Now we're at the top right, and back to -1, -1, -1, 1. And so, right, you can notice that, go away, pop up. Those 4 points are, each one of those is a vec2. And each one specifies a corner of the screen because remember our overall screen space is centered on 0, 0 and extends to -1 and +1 in both the X and Y axes. And let's create some uniforms, and I'm gonna use this naming convention that is sometimes used to specify a uniform. You'll put a U at the front of it, and this is going to be a vec4. This is just going to be 0.0, so 0, no reds, full greens, no blues, full alpha. And I'm going to say count is going to be 4. And my, what do you call this, primitive is going to be triangle fan. And it says now, can I find frag.glsl? So let's make those. So we're going to make frag.glsl. And we're going to say precision medium p float. So we're just going to specify the precision of our floats. It's going to be medium. And I'm going to say uniform vec4, what was it, U color 1, I think. U color 1. And then the main spice of this is our void main function, our main function that returns nothing. And I don't know why they I don't I probably should learn why they do it this way, right? Because we do get this frag color thing out of this function. I think what they're saying essentially is this frag color is a side effect. It's not returned. It's just sent to the canvas. But I need to learn a little bit more about how this all works in the underlying WebGL myself. So that's our frag, and let's see if we can save that and refresh the browser. Cannot find module frag.glsl. So we might need to rebuild here. And now it says cannot find module vert.glsl. Right? So obviously likes this fragment shader that I wrote. I'm gonna write one. I'm gonna write a simple vertex shader. And so these are the, this is what this vertex shader, you remember, and this fragment shader is what Regal is going to bring together, package, and send to the browser and send to the graphics pipeline, to the GPU. So our simple vertex shader is going to, again, be of precision medium P. So our floats are all going to be medium P. And you remember we made that vec2 attribute called position, which we're going to bring in. And then we're going to return, or I suppose not return, from our main function, GL position. And that's going to be a vec4 that's going to use those this is going to get run for each one of those position values and create a vertex for us. So now if I Control C to stop this and then npm start to reload it, you can see I've got no issues whatsoever. I also don't have the green screen that I was hoping for, so I need to figure out why that is. So vec2 position, ucolor1, ucolor1. Oh, and can you see why it's not doing anything? It's because I'm not calling drawBG at any point. So it's compiling everything, but I'm not actually calling drawBG. And last time I was showing you how to do this in a regal.frame, which we'll do again in a minute. But you can also just call this function that gets returned here, just like that. And now I got my green background. Yay! So all of my pixels everywhere on my screen are all green. And I think that's good for this first video. I'm going to try to keep each one of these short, and we'll just move slowly through these fragment shader topics. So in the next one, we're gonna turn this solid color into a gradient.